Well, because we weren't going to lose our house or any of the rental. We worked so hard to get where we were at. And the nice thing about it is uh, there was a lot of people that were losing their homes, but they were good people. So they still had their all those crazy loans. If anybody's done any research, all the crazy, 1% interest rate loans and stuff back in the day, negative amortization. People got upside down on their payments. Well, they would go buy a house and have $1,000 payment, and then 6 months later they'd have a $2,000 a month payment because rates would go up, and there was no caps on these. Besides payment cap adjustments, but still, it destroyed them. So their incomes didn't double, but their house payments doubled. All prior to 2008, anybody that could fog a mirror could get a loan. Our tenants were the people that couldn't fog a mirror. That's how bad they were. So it was terrible collecting, but we chugged through it. But once people started losing their houses and still didn't have a place to live, all these people still had good paying jobs. They just couldn't afford these absorbent payments. So they became our tenants. So our tenant base improved after 2008. So we had better tenants, less to do there. And then we just did whatever it took to make ends meet, to bridge the gap, to keep everything going.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I am joined by Roger Hauf, who's been making serious moves in the single-family residential space for over 40 years now. Roger, it's great to have you on, man.
Hey, good to be on. Thanks, Micah.
Absolutely. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you've approached your real estate career in general, the ways that you've adjusted as market changes have happened since you've been doing this. So let's dive in on that. For people who may not know you yet, what's your main focus right now and what markets are you operating in?
Well, right now the main focus is my wife and I are kind of on the latter end of our career. I just turned 65 yesterday, and so we're kind of the senior citizens, and we don't feel like it, but so we're starting to liquidate some of our single family residences, have been for the last about a year to year and a half. But currently we're in several markets. We're in Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan, and South Carolina until recently. We just sold our South Carolina property that we had, and we're looking at hopefully selling the Michigan one. So we were in 6 states. We're trying to get down to 4 and eventually whittle those down a little bit as well.
And what are you trying to shift to? What's the move for once you liquidate those properties?
Well, our biggest thing right now is more passive investing versus active single family investing. I mean, right now, even though we have for a long time, for a number of years, I self-manage them. And my wife said that I needed to get them turned over to a property manager or she's going to divorce me. So I decided I would do that. And especially we were bouncing between several states. And so it was always this case where, oh, we're in Texas, but something's broke in Colorado, or we're in Colorado, something's broken in Texas. So we got property managers for all those, which is awesome. That helps alleviate me talking to 60 individual tenants, but you're still managing, 5 or 6 property managers in 5 or 6 states. So, getting the tenants and toilets off of our lap, I guess, for lack of a better term, is what we're trying to do. So we're moving into more passive investments where we're the investor more of the bank than the property manager, like,
Gotcha.
multifamily, storage units, raw land, things of that nature.
Moving those projects. It makes sense. Makes sense. So let's move back a little bit. When did you get into real estate and what led you to this industry to begin with?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, I originally started out, graduated from college in 1983 and bought my first fiveplex about 6 months out of college, and subsequently ended up buying that property. And then my brother was very interested in what I was doing, so he partnered with me, and then we bought 2 duplexes and a triplex, and then finally ended up buying a house for myself. But ironically, that house that I bought for myself, I rented the upstairs and I lived in the basement just to keep my costs down. So I had 13 doors, and I was probably 23 years old at the time.
Whoa.
And a lot of people on this probably are too young to remember, but then the S&L crisis hit in the mid 80s, and I was working for a savings loan out of college. And so ended up subsequently losing everything. And I ended up moving to Denver, Colorado and starting all over in 1986.
What was that like? You're 23 at that point? 26 at that point? In that range?
About 25 when I moved to Colorado. Yeah. I had gone from, hey, I'm going to be this real estate empire here at 20, 23, 22. And then by 25, 26, I was back to square one, living in a townhouse in Aurora, Colorado, working a commission job with no income.
Man. So how long were you out of real estate, as it were, before you got back in and started buying again?
Well, we had bought our townhouse on a non-qualified assumption back then, but then that's all we had. And then it was about 4 years, started establishing myself in the Denver metro area, and we bought a single family house in like 1990. And then I had to say I went through a divorce situation then and ended up starting all over again in about 1993. So,
Man, okay. So was the third time the charm then?
yes, well, a second wife, but third time starting over. So then I found my current wife, and then we ended up buying a house in 97 because we were a blended family. And so I had 2 girls and she had a girl. And so we needed a little bit bigger house. So we rented out the little ranch house that I was living in and bought a 2-story bigger house. And I still have both of those houses to this day. And so then in 97, we bought that house, and then we bought another 3, I think, in 98, another about 4 in 99. And then we ended up building in 2000, we ended up buying a lot and building our dream house. But then 2008 happened, and we all know what happened back then, or at least I think a lot of people did.
Yeah. And so was that all right there in the Colorado area, right where you were living?
Yeah, that was all still in Colorado. Yeah, so we had 8 houses at the time when we built our big dream house, and then we bought another 7 houses, 8 houses after that. Had about 15, 16 houses and our big house, and then the 2008 recession came.
How did that one fare off for you? So you had the 1986 recession there, and it had one turnout. And so what'd you learn from there that you were able to navigate the next one with?
Well, yeah, so that's a good point, because the main thing is in the first one, I was young and stupid and didn't have any money. Second time, I was just older and maybe not as stupid, but I still, we decided that we got to get rid of the big house. The kids were all going to college and gone. and it's like the wife and I and the dog. And so we said, let's sell this big house. I mean, I had a $4,000 a month house payment back then. And so it was a big nut to crack. We sold the big house, downsized, and got a little house. And I told her, I said straight up, I go, I can work at McDonald's and still make the house payment. And I almost did that. I actually drove for Domino's for a couple of winters just to make ends meet because I was still commission loan officer doing deals, and it was a tough market. So we saved every rental property. We did not lose a property. Our smaller house, we still have to this day. That's our house when we're in Colorado. And we weathered the storm and got through it.
That's powerful. That's a powerful story because it's applying what you've learned and then to go through it again and to make it out this time. And what I love to hear is that it wasn't easy. It's not like the second time was sunshines and rainbows. What was that mindset that it took to go deliver Domino's? Like, what was going on in your head then that said, I'll even do this?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Well, because we weren't going to lose our house or any of the rental. We worked so hard to get where we were at. And the nice thing about it is there was a lot of people that were losing their homes, but they were good people. So they still had all those crazy loans. If anybody's done any research, all the crazy, 1% interest rate loans and stuff back in the day, negative amortization. People got upside down on their payments. Well, they would go buy a house and have $1,000 payment. And then 6 months later, they'd have a $2,000 a month payment because rates would go up and there was no caps on these besides payment cap adjustments, but still it destroyed them. So their incomes didn't double, but their house payments doubled. All prior to 2008, anybody that could fog a mirror could get a loan. Our tenants were the people that couldn't fog a mirror. That's how bad they were.
Oh.
So it was terrible collecting, but we chugged through it. But once people started losing their houses and still didn't have a place to live, all these people still had good paying jobs. They just couldn't afford these absorbent payments. So they became our tenants. So our tenant base improved after 2008. So we had better tenants, less to do there. And then we just did whatever it took to make ends meet, to bridge the gap, to keep everything going. And so then by about 2010, my daughter's down in Texas at the Texas Christian TCU. And we found out that housing was cheap in Texas, unlike Colorado.
And what did that open your mind to? So houses getting more expensive in Colorado. You're here in one backyard, and now a whole new world opens up to you. What was that like to make that transition down there?
Well, we did a lot of thinking, and basically the housing prices were 200 to 300% higher in Colorado than in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I was floored because I had never done any research out of my own backyard. And so our daughter's down there going to college, and she gets out of school and she goes, Dad, what should I do? And I said, you buy a house. You don't want to be a renter. And at that time, Obama was offering the a tax credit for first-time home buyers. I think it was like $8,000 or something. I said, you can go buy a house and they're going to pay you all your money back for down payment and everything when you file your taxes. I said, you're going to own this thing, nothing out of your pocket. And she goes, oh, that can't be right. I said, no, trust me on this one, it'll work. And rates, I said, are super low. They're like 6-7%. We got spoiled here recently, But at the time, I go, this is great because my mortgage back when I got out of college was 12%. I'm thinking 6%. This is awesome. So she buys a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage house for $68,000 in 2010. And I go, what? I said, are there more of these or is this some kind of anomaly? And she goes, oh no, we looked at a bunch of them. And I go, get the realtor to call me. I said, we're going buying houses. And so we ended up purchasing 13 homes there in about a 2-year period, ranging from $32,000 up to about $68,000. And it was just crazy. And so we were renting out these little houses, and she was going to help us manage those because she was going to just finish school there and was working for Lockheed Martin. And all these houses were probably within 3 miles of where Lockheed was at. So I go, hey, this is great. Little portfolio. And she owned half of these properties with us because we couldn't get mortgages anymore because we had too many properties. And so she would get the financing and we would give her the down payment to put the deals together, and we partnered with them 50-50 on them. And so she ended up with a nice little portfolio, and we ended up with, another, dozen houses.
Yeah. So how many did that? So you're in Colorado at that point, and you're in Dallas, Fort Worth. How big was your portfolio at that point?
We were at that time, I think, up to about 30, close to 30 houses.
Close to 30. And did you have a target number in mind, or you were just finding the deals as they came along?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Just finding the deals as we came along. We kind of wanted my goal was to get critical mass wherever we were at, where it would make sense. Because I saw the writing on the wall that it would make sense to get a property manager. Because with her there, it was nice. And my son-in-law at the time, they weren't married, her fiance, we figured they could handle those. I could handle these. But I said, if we go anywhere else or get any bigger, we're not going to. And we were all working full time, because my wife and I were working, and my daughter and her fiance were working. But we could handle them on a part-time basis, okay, because we were in that neck of the woods. Then she gets into a leadership program, ends up getting transferred to Florida for a little bit, then back to Texas for a little bit, and then to Colorado for a little bit, and then back to Texas. And then they said, and this was over a 2-year period, I think it was, 2-3-year period. And then they said, where do you want to go? And she goes, I want to go back to Colorado. So boom, we lose our property manager there. So then I go, we need to relook at this. And we ended up getting a property manager there. And then in the interim, because I've been going down to San Antonio, side issue, as I've been in the martial arts for 45 years. And my instructor lived in San Antonio. And so we were going down there for clinics and things like that. And so I go, if Fort Worth is this cheap, I wonder if San Antonio is the same. And it was. So we went down there and found houses like that in the Fort Worth area. In San Antonio, same thing. So we're buying houses there, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. I think we paid up to $80,000. The market was already starting to move up, but we were kind of in that range. But the problem we ran into there, side story, is that we bought a lot of these on hard money. Everybody knows what that is. And we're paying 12, 14% rates to get these properties that needed work. We go in there and rehab them and get a tenant in there. And we had bought 3 of them. And so this is probably, 2013. And the thought was, well, then we'll just go refinance them and then take that money. One, will lower our payments, improve our cash flow, and then go buy some more. Well, we go to the bank and we know we couldn't get any Fannie Mae financing, Freddie Mac financing anymore because we had too many mortgages. And we couldn't use our daughter because she now had 10 loans underneath her name, so we couldn't use her. But we go, hey, somebody said, just go to your local bank and, they'll give you some money because they want to lend money out. So we said, hey, we got 3 houses. They're not huge deals. What if I put them all together and then you can get a big loan, maybe give us a couple $100,000 loan on $300,000 worth of houses. It's a nice 70% loan to value. And they go, we'd love to. Where do you live? And I said, well, we live in Colorado. And they go, oh, sorry, we can't lend you any money. And the wife and I go, what do you mean you can't lend us any money? I said, isn't that discriminatory? I mean, we got good credit. We got a track record. And they go, no, it's just, we're a local bank. We just only lend to local people in our community. And I said, oh, okay. So then what we did is we found another house that was in the same neighborhood as these ones we bought. And we bought it and moved into it. And that was our first year coming to Texas to be winter Texans, get out of the snow of Colorado. And so we buy this house and we go back to the bank and said, hey, we got these 3 houses. And they go, where do you live? And we said, oh, we live at 9866 Hotton Creek. Awesome. Great. Boom. Loans approved. And so we just had to live in the area.
Bingo. Unlocked it.
That worked out great. We took those 3 houses, got the rates down from 12, 14% to around 6% at the time, and pulled a bunch of cash out and went and bought 3 more. And we went back to the bank 6 months later, did the same thing, went and bought 3 more. Well, then the bank said, oh, we're getting too many loans. So then we found another bank, just another little local bank, with a few branches, did the same thing. And within, I think it was probably by 2015, I think, about 2015, maybe 2016, we had 18 houses in San Antonio.
And so you're starting to spread out now and your portfolio's growing. What, for someone that's experiencing, hey, maybe my backyard's running out of deals. Maybe I do need to try to look at these other places. What would you recommend to them as someone who has expanded themselves out? Because you said you're now in Arizona, Michigan, just got out of South Carolina. You got Colorado, you got Texas. What is it that you go look for in these markets to find more better deals that'll pencil?
Well, basically, yeah, that's a good question. Is we look at the demographics of the area. And one of the big things right now is we're looking for landlord-friendly states. Colorado is not that anymore. Neither is, California or New York or, Washington State. And especially during COVID, everybody saw you had a lot of squatters happening. You couldn't evict people. Their laws tightened up. It just got really crazy, and they were all against landlords. And there was a lot of people that lost their rental properties because they couldn't make their mortgages. Because their hands were tied on getting good tenants in, getting the current ones to pay, or to get people evicted to get good ones in. But that's one of the big things. Also, is the area growing? Is the area have good schools and good job base? We ended up moving to Arizona. We ended up selling 100% of the Fort Worth portfolio. A couple of the properties we moved up to Colorado Springs, and then Colorado Springs started to get too expensive. The rest of those Fort Worth ones ended up being in Arizona, in a couple of small towns south of Phoenix, Casa Grande, Eloy, Arizona City, and Coolidge. And there was a lithium battery plant being built there, and they had no housing. They were going to be bringing in thousands of jobs and no place for people to live. Well, our theory to start with, ironically, was we're going to go in and do what we normally did, find some beat up housing, fix it up and rent it. There was no housing to be had because it was a small community, was never that big. And so new construction was all that was available towards us. I think we ended up buying 2 resale homes of the 15 we have there, and the other 13 were brand new construction. And
wow.
We ended up buying them, and every month to 2 months, the builder kept raising the prices, and we would keep buying them. We'd sell a house in Texas, 1031 it over to Arizona, buy something, and then 6 months later, we're buying another one, and their values keep going up and up and up. So we ended up building equity from that standpoint. And then we got lucky on the last few we bought, and we started doing this this is like 2020 through about 2022. So in 2 years, we bought 15 houses there. In the end, the builders were calling us and said,
I bet
the big deal fell through. We had this place under contract, it's supposed to close. Ironic, a lot of them was like November, December even. And they go, we're trying to get this off the books by the end of the year. Do you want it? And we go, well, what price? And they would go, blah, blah, blah. And I said, we just bought that exact same model from you 6 months ago. I'll give you that price. I'm not going to give you what the owner-occupant person was going to pay for it. Fine, they go, we just want to get it off the books. So we were still getting prices 6 months earlier that we had been getting because of the fact they wanted to sell them quick. They knew we could close, et cetera, et cetera. So it worked out really
Oh,
good.
getting new construction at a discount. Roger, teach a class, please. That's killer, man. That's really killer. So to start wrapping this up here, for listeners who are earlier in their journey or they're trying to level up, what's made the biggest difference for you when it comes to building relationships and growing your network?
And what was happening with the economy there, he ended up getting a commission on 15 houses, and eventually he ended up becoming our property manager of those houses too, because then we turned it
Man,
all over to him. So we went to Tulsa then the last 2 years, and so basically we were 1031ing. We're selling out of Colorado. We're trying to move out of there because of some of the property laws there and stuff. So we were looking at just in 2024, we started buying in February of 2024 in Tulsa because of some property we sold in Colorado. We got referred to a realtor by another real estate investor of ours. So networking is very important. And he had bought a few houses in Tulsa, and he goes, "Hey, work with Angela. She's great. She knows what to look for. She's owned property before. She does fixes and flips. She's got contractor contacts, etc. Everything that you need." I said, "Awesome." So we ended up buying a property in February of 2024. And then subsequently, we bought 13 properties in 2024 in Tulsa. And
wow.
1031s, we were just cranking. We were buying, sometimes 2 or 3 a month until we could use up our 1031 money. Then we'd sell another property, buy another lump sum. So we have 15 in Tulsa right now. And she helped us get our tenants in there. She helped us find the properties. She helped us find the contractors to rehab them. And then now we've got another property manager that's taking care of all of them because she can't manage all of them. I was self-managing that group until I got to that critical mass that I was talking about. So then I could go to a property manager and say, "Hey, I got a portfolio here. What are you going to give me for a rate on management?" And we've done that in every market. And that's Colorado, Texas, Arizona, and Oklahoma. It's like, I've got 10 properties, 15 properties, 18 properties. What kind of deal do you cut? Because most people, when they go in, if they got one house, oh, it's 10% and, month's rent and blah, blah, blah. We never pay that on any of ours because we come in there with a little bit of clout and a little bit of volume. So we can cut a good deal. We can get the, 7% or a flat fee to rent or a flat fee to lease or whatever. So that's very important too, is that one, you get your contacts, two, you get your contractors in place, your realtors and everybody. And then three, I recommend everybody self-manage for a little bit so that you know what to expect, so that you're not told by somebody, "Well, this is what you need, or you should do this," or blah, blah, blah. If you've never done it before, it's like the mechanic when you take your car to and they say you need a new motor when you just need some spark plug, you know,
Yeah.
same thing. And that way, when you turn it over to the manager, when they start telling you stuff, you're going, "It doesn't sound right." And you can be an educated investor instead of one that's taken advantage of.
And it sounds like you double dipped a little bit right there, taking that time to get enough properties to self-manage that where you learn those lessons also gave you the chance to negotiate at the table with them on how much they were going to charge you to manage that. So you got a double benefit out of the same amount of time.
Well, exactly. We saved a lot of money the first year in Oklahoma or in any of the other markets as well. But yes, then when we turn them over, it's like, hey, and then when you know the market better too, because every market's different. Like, how do contractors work there? Who are the good people, the bad people? How do you deal with the municipalities and the water districts and whatever? I mean, ironically, they're all weirdly different. And so you kind of know who to contact, and then you can talk intelligently to your property manager and go, "Hey, here's what to expect," and they tell you something different. You go, "No, no, no, I dealt with this person, or I dealt with that person," that kind of a deal. So it's a good education thing. I think the more tools you have in your toolbox there, makes the whole thing work better, smoother.
You've been putting 40 years worth of tools in your toolbox. That's what's impressive, through many different kind of market cycles, now many different markets in general. So if someone wanted to connect with you and learn more from you and learn more about you in terms of the knowledge that you have to offer, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, just shoot Joanne and I an email. It's at JR, as in Joanne and Roger, JR for the word for, FOR, freedom at jr4freedom@gmail.com. jr4freedom@gmail.com.
Man, well, perfect. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, your story, your perspective. Thanks for hopping on and speaking with us. I think we need more people in the space doing it the right way, like you're doing it, and sharing that knowledge, passing along what you've learned. So for those of you tuning in, if you got value from this episode, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Like this episode. We'll make sure that Roger's information is in the description for you if you want to reach out to him. We've got more conversations coming up with operators just like Roger who are out there building real businesses. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.